Welcome back to part 2 of our 2-inch timber framing slick build. Last video out, we forged it, we put the socket on, we got all the rough grinding, rough bevel, we annealed, we normalized, 2 cycles of normalization. Tonight we are going to heat treat, we're going to temper, we're going to finish grind, we're going to make the handle, we're going to finish this guy off. So stay tuned, hope you enjoy it. Put a sacrificial piece of metal into the forge, we can heat it up, heat the quench oil, then when we get the slick in there, we get that up to temp, then we can quench that. If that oil's too cold when we go into the quench, there's a good chance you're going to crack that metal, little spider web cracks. Nobody likes that. That means you have to start over. Notice when I quench the slick, I'm only doing a few inches of it. We don't need the whole body of this thing hardened. I only want the end about that much. That should give a lifetime and then some of sharpening. Plus it leaves the body of the slick, it leaves it nice and tough, nice and resilient. Obviously we're going to temper it down and all that. We have a hardened 2-inch timber framing slick. What I like to do, I like to take a file, just do the hardness test. File just skates on there. You can kind of see if we can get the noise better for you. So the difference is, it bites in there, skates in there. So that's what I'm going for. I want the body of the slick a little bit softer, a little tougher. That means it's not quite so brittle up here. Now right now, we have not tempered this down yet, so what could happen, say I drop this on the floor right now, I could shatter the tip on this real easily. So you check it with the file, you make sure you got it good and hard. Now remember, if you're working with 1080 steel, it's one of the most forgiving steels out there for your heat treatment process, and it's also one of the toughest damn steels for tools. I love 1080 for edge tools, knives, things of that nature, just because it holds up so well. You could get into designer steels, you could get into other oil quench steels that work quite well. O2 is a really good steel. You could get into water steels, you know, your W series. But for a lot of us working with simple tools, just a forge, things of that nature, we don't have heat treating ovens, 1080 is definitely the ticket for a lot of the stuff you do. So anyway, the next thing we need to do is I need to temper this out. I could take this into the oven in the house, which has a lot of benefits. It means you're doing the entire body of this slick. What I do with these a lot of times is I do a blowtorch temper. I get this shined up so I can watch my temper colors. I could watch them travel up, so I make sure we're not getting too hot. I do it right next to the slack tank or the 5-gallon pail of water next to the grinder. As soon as I see those colors creeping up a little bit more than I want them to, dunk it in the slack, heat it up again, and we just kind of work it. So we're going to get all the scale off of this. We're going to kind of clean it off nice. We're not going to try to grind too much on this because right now this is very hard. It'll end up just eating up my grinder belts. That gets expensive. I'll get all pissed off. I'll cry like a little girl. Nobody's going to want to watch the video. So we're going to keep going. We have a good torch temper on this now. I like doing it that way in these larger pieces. I could put it in the oven in the house and do the same thing. It'd just do the whole body. But what I really like about it is I know this is going to be good and soft, this section of the body where you're going to be prying against a lot, which really you shouldn't be prying with this too much. That'd be more for the actual chisels themselves. So we're to the point now we can finish grind. We can get this bevel finalized. We can polish it up. We can make the handle. We can etch the maker's mark in it, and we can get this son of a bitch out of here. So let's keep after it. We have this up to 120 grit all the way around. The socket you saw I do kind of on the slack belt portion of the grinder. We'll get the back nice and flat on this one. We got nice consistent grinds down through here. I like to leave a little bit of the forge marks. I think it looks kind of neat when everything else is so polished. But the important thing to notice if you're making something like this on and you have one of these grinders, even if you don't, slow is good when you're doing the bevel, especially after heat treatment and temper. Obviously, if I ran my grinder at full speed, the finer the grit of belt, the more heat this is going to build up. So right now, we just pulled a burr on 120 grit. Now, that'd be pretty sharp, honestly. If we took it to the deburring wheel and got rid of that burr, that'd be a halfway decent edge, but that's not good enough. Obviously, I've explained before. So our progression here is going to be 120 for the whole body. We're going to go up to 220. I'm going to hit this bevel with 220, and then we're going to start going up to the Trizac belts. We're going to start at 800 grit and work our way up to, what's my grits there? Up to 2,000 grit, 800, 1,200, 2,000. When you start getting up in those Trizac grits, you could burn this edge so fast. I only do real quick swipes with it, and we're just trying to get a consistent bevel on there, consistent burr. Once you start pulling a burr on this, you're getting into the territory of you're going to start getting it razor sharp. And then after that, we'll tape it up and get the handle on it. the special part, getting to test this out for the first time. Take the tape off. If I don't put this tape on here, all the metal shavings all over the place. Boy, you set it down and you do all that grinding and finishing off, and boy, it really won't make you happy when you have scratches in there because you weren't careful. This one came out pretty nice. I'm very happy with it. The axe wax, I love that axe wax for the handles. But this walnut, so this came out of the same piece as the 3-inch slick that's heading out with this. This one's big brother. And this stuff was a little more splintery on this one, and I'm not sure why. It's very dry. If you couldn't tell from watching the lathe work, this piece of walnut is very dry. It's that tree that I cut down in a video, gosh, 5 years ago, 4 years ago. And it's been upstairs in the barn here drying ever since, the slabs. So they're nice and dry. They are nice and dry. Come on. All right. There we go. Make sure the camera is on. So, the big reveal. I've got fingerprints and stuff all over it. We'll have to get those cleaned off before it ships out, but let's see how it cuts. The vise isn't the best thing to put it in, but it's the most solid thing I have we can do this with. Oh, look at that. You remember from the last, oh yeah. That's what I like to see when I can, with the slick. We'll see how fine we can get these shavings off of here. So, you know, I'm tilting up a little bit to dig in. Then you set it back down. There's a lot of control with the slick. Let's get aggressive with it. Now you're probably thinking this thing cuts like shit, but this maple is very hard. Especially with as dry as it is. So let's see if it still shaves. I don't know, what do you think, folks? Well, so here we have it, a 2-inch and a 3-inch. Ready to go to Massachusetts, I believe. So this comes in at about 30.5 inches long. This comes in at 27.5 inches long altogether. So 2-inch and a 3-inch slick. So hopefully the gentleman who ordered these is going to get a whole lot of years out of these. I'm pretty happy with them. I'll give you see if we can get a little closer. That all this stuff on them, that's axe wax. I coat all of it. Everything I send out gets coated with that. Keeps everything from rusting. I'd like to leave a little bit of the forge marks in there, but not so much where it's rough. I kind of do like a more finished look. Some people like the brute to forge look. I just kind of go with my own preference for my tools. So we get those boxed up. We'll get those shipped out. We actually have a few more slicks that we need to make. Damn camera. There we go. We have a few more slicks that we need to make. I have a bunch of chisels that we have to finish up. I do have... do have these right here. These are a bunch of 1.5-inchers with Babinga handles. Again, thank you, Rob DeMarco, if you end up watching this. These are getting... one's for local. These are all sold, but we have plenty of more. The 1.5-inch seem to be the most popular, and honestly... probably one of the most useful sizes for timber framing chisels that you're going to get. So I'm pretty happy with all these. Everything's coming out quite nicely. It was kind of crazy as it all started out as draw knives on the channel. You know, we got into the chisels just as a natural thing, you know, timber framing, making timber framing tools, or timber framer making timber framing tools. Damn, it's been a long week. Is it friggin' Friday yet? Well, it's close. It's real close. Anyway, so we have a lot of stuff coming up that we need to make. Obviously, I'd like to do a run of axes. I need to do another run of draw knives. It's definitely have to finish these chisels up. I think I have 6 or 7 more ready for sockets and finish grinding and all that good stuff. So they're not even close to being done. They're forged out though, so I guess that's what counts. But anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will catch you on the next one.